Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Today we are going to discuss our another topic that is your microbiology of cheese. That is your hard cheese. Okay, so microbiology of the milk, microbiology of the milk, microbiology of the butter and cream. This video are already uploaded in our account. You can go and check it. Here, what should we are going to do? We are going to discuss about the microbiology of the hard cheese. Okay, so why we choose hard cheese? See, this cheese is what? We all know that this cheese are very nutritive. Okay, and microorganisms need nutrition for their growth. Okay, that's why this we choose the cheese as a nutritive material. Sorry, as a product for the study of this microorganisms. Okay, because this microbiology, what we all know that microbiology or the study of the microorganism. Okay. And in this lecture, what should we are going to do? We are going to discuss or we are going to study about the microorganisms present in a cheese. Either they are beneficial or either they are harmful, because every food product contain both type of microorganisms, that is your harmful microorganisms or beneficial microorganisms. Okay, these all things I already told you in our in my previous lecture, but in this topic or today's lecture we are going to discuss about the microorganisms present into the cheese. Okay, either they are harmful or either they are beneficial. Now the next is your, first of all I'm going to discuss the introduction. Okay, so we all know that this cheese are prepared by the process called a fermentation. Okay, so before starting the lecture we have to know that what is this fermentation. Okay, so fermentation is simply what they do, they consume sugar, and this sugar are converted into product like your organic acids, gases, or alcohol. Okay, sugar, or you can so say that carbohydrate, basically they are converted into a organic acid, gases, and alcohol in the absence of oxygen. Okay, then this process is called what? This process is called a fermentation. Okay, now from if we talk about the fermentation in the food industry, so simply the conversion of the carbohydrate into a alcohol or a organic acid, and here this reaction are take place in the presence of different microorganisms. Okay, this microorganisms is either yeast or either bacteria. Okay, the process are same: carbohydrate converted into a alcohol or organic acid. Okay, but here the condition is that the microorganisms like yeast and bacteria are present, and again it will done under a absence of oxygen, and that condition is called a anaerobic conditions. Okay, now see what is written in a slide. Fermentation is a metabolic process that consumes sugar in the absence of oxygen. The products are organic acids, gases, or alcohol. Fermentation in food processing is the process of converting carbohydrate to alcohol or organic acid using a microorganism like yeast or bacteria under a anaerobic condition. Okay, so simply this is a fermentation definition. Now the next is your cheese. We all know that this cheese are pressed by, this cheese are made or manufactured by a curd after pressing it. Okay, the curd and the curd are made up of a milk. Okay, and these cheese are what? They are elastic in nature, soft and sometimes semi-soft in a texture. Okay, here the food consisting of the coagulation compress and usually they are what? They are a ripe curd. Okay, when the ripening of the curd of milk occur, then it is called what? It is called a cheese. Okay, and when the curd are ripe, then a whey are separated and cheese are formed. Now see what is written in a slide. A food made from the pressed curds of the milk, firm and elastic or soft and semi-soft in texture. Okay, so their texture is what? Either they are elastic in nature, okay, either they are soft in nature or either they are semi-liquid. Okay, these three type of texture of the cheese. A food consisting of coagulated, compressed and usually ripe curd of milk separated from the whey. Okay, now the next is your history of this cheese or a fermentation. Okay, so fermentation basically start around 7000 to 660, sorry, 6600 BCA. Okay, and the first time this fermentation word was coined in Jiao, China. Okay, now the lactic acid fermentation was discovered by a Louis Pasteur in 1857. Okay, Louis Pasteur introduced this lactic acid fermentation in 1857. Okay, now this cheese was developed in Central Asia, Middle East, Europe around 5500 BC. Okay, so this first time the cheese was manufactured in Europe or Central Asia or Middle East around 5500 BC. Now the next is your fermentation pathway for our lactic acid bacteria. Okay, now this is your what? This is your glucose. Glucose is what? Glucose is your carbohydrate. Okay, either they are homo homofermentive and either they are heterofermentive. Either they are homofermentive or either they are heterofermentive. Okay, so when they are homofermentive, then it will convert it into a pyrite. Okay, and this pyrite are converted into a lactate. Okay, and when they are heterofermented, then it form a glucose 6 phosphate, and this glucose 6 phosphate is converted into a acetate, ethanol and lactate. Okay, here the pyrite are converted into a lactate and here a glucose 6 phosphate are converted into either acetate, ethanol and lactate. Okay, so this is the fermentation pathway. Now there is a question for you. Can you write the answer in a comment box, that is what is homo fermented and what is hetero fermented? Write down your answer in a comment box. What is homofermentive and what is heterofermentive? Now the next is your, this is your glucose. Glucose use NAD plus and this NAD plus converted into a NADH and converted into a pyric acid. Okay, now this pyric acid are in the presence of different microorganism, that is your prominobacterium. Okay, in the presence of prominobacterium they will convert it into a product that is called carbon dioxide and propionic acid, and this propionic acid are converted into a sweet Swiss cheese. Okay, this propionic acid used in the manufacturing of the Swiss acid. Now, in the presence of bacillus, lactobacillus or streptococcus, it will convert it into a lactic acid. Then it is the cheddar cheese, yogurt, and soy sauce. It will use in the manufacturing of cheddar cheese, yogurt, and soy sauce. Then pyric acid in the presence of Saccharomyces is will convert it into a carbon dioxide and ethanol, and it will use in the manufacturing of wine and beer. This ethanol. Ethanol will be used in a manufacturing of wine and beer. Now this pyric acid in the presence of Clostridium, it will convert it into a acetone or isopropanol, and this will used in the manufacturing of nail polish remover and rubbing alcohol. Okay, now in the presence of Escherichia acetonobacter, it will convert it, this pyric acid are converted into a acetic acid, and this acetic acid are used in the manufacturing of vinegar. Okay, so different this pyric acid are totally depend upon the microorganism. Okay, it totally depend upon the type of the microorganisms. Okay, which type of microorganisms are present, then that type of the product will form. Okay, if the propionobacterium are present, then Swiss cheese are formed. If bacillus, lactobacillus, streptococcus microorganisms are present, then it will form cheddar cheese, yogurt, and soy sauce. If Saccharomyces are present, then wine and beer are formed. If Clostridium are present, then your nail polish remover and rubbing alcohol are formed. If Escherichia acetobacter are present, then vinegar are formed. Now the next is your microbes associated with the cheese fermentation. Okay, now for the manufacturing of this cheese, the microorganisms associated are Bacillus licheniformis, Bacillus sphaericus, Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus pumilus, Bacillus firmus, E. coli, Klebsiella, starter culture. Now here the starter culture will start. That is your Lactococcus lactis, Lactocillus delbrueckii, subspecies Bulgaricus, Lactobacillus helveticus, and Streptococcus salivarius, subspecies Thermophiles. Okay, so these are the list of the microorganisms which are associated for the fermentation of the cheese. Okay, now the next is your yeast and molds are also responsible for the fermentation of cheese. Responsible for the fermentation of the cheese. And they are what? Torola yeast, that is your Cybellindaria and Jardini. Penicillium camemberti, Penicillium roqueforti, Penicillium glaucum. Okay, now the next is your general cheese processing step. First of all, what should we do? We collect the milk. Okay, now collection of the milk will already discussed in our previous lecture. You can go and check it. Collection of the milk. I'm just give you a quick recap. Okay, there are different form. Okay, the milk are not not milking are not done inside the industry. What they do, different industry have a small farm. Okay, suppose that this is your big industry. Here I'm going to draw it here, your big industry. Now there is a small farm are there where the milking are done. Okay, and some general tests are also performed. Now um from all these farms the milk are collected. Okay, and it will send to the industry. This is your industry where the collection of the milk are started. And then after collection of the milk, the testing are performed and see that the milk are sterilized or not. Then pasteurization are done. Pasteurization will be done, it's around done between 73 degrees Celsius at least for 50 seconds. It is the normal. Okay, uh, sometime UHT pasteurization will also done, but the common type of the pasteurization, that is your high temperature low time, will be performed, and the temperature is around 73 degrees Celsius, around 15 seconds. Then again cooling of the milk are done, and it will here the temperature of the milk should be reaches between the 0 to 5 degrees Celsius at least 4 hours. Within a 4 hours this temperature will be reaches to a 0 to 0 to 5 degree Celsius. Now, after that, after cooling, culturing should be formed, in which we introduce the required microorganism. Introduction of the required microorganism. Okay. Now, after that, when we add this culture, then the coagulation are occur, and the milk, sorry, here the some portion of the liquid will be released. Now, after that, we perform our draining. Draining means that we remove the whey protein from the cheese. Remove the whey protein from the cheese. Okay. Not a cheese. Here it is a cheese curd. Okay. So cheese curd and this whey protein should be uh, separating. Then after that we are form a scalding. Scalding is what? It's simply a heating the curd. Here what should you get? You get a cheese curd. Now this cheese curd should be heated. Okay. And when they are heated, it will convert it into a hardened curd shell. Okay. When it is heated, it will convert it into a hardened cheese, sorry, hardened curds. Okay. And all the moistures are removed. Moistures are removed. Okay. Then after that, cheddaring process are done. Cheddaring means that it is the cutting of the cheese into a uh, sorry, this cheddaring is what? Cutting and stacking curd to remove a whey. Okay. Here what should we do? We cutting and stacking curd to remove the remaining whey. Then after that, what should we do? We add a salt or a brine for the taste purpose. Now this cheese form into a block, and it should be stored for a aging. Okay, maturation, and it will be stored around 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. No, sorry, not 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. It is stored between a minus 18, at least minus 18 degrees Celsius. Then after that, packaging should be done. Okay, now this is all process of the cheese. I hope you will understand. The first one is your milk collection, then pasteurization, then cooling, then culturing, coagulation, draining, scalding, cheddaring, addition of salt or brine, then form a cheese into a block, then it will store and age, maturation and packaging. Now the next is your, here again all these step will be described. First one is your collection of the cheese. Now sterilized milk, raw milk as such, sick cow milk, antibiotic treatment and pasteurized milk for a cheese making and overview. Okay, so that I already told you. What should we do? We take a milk and sterilize, sorry, raw milk, like somehow we get from a cow and another. Okay, and we avoid a collection of the milk from a sick cow or who are in a antibiotic treatment. Then we pasteurized it. So pasteurization is either done at a high temperature short time, that is your called HTST, and the temperature range is around 72 degrees Celsius for a 15 second. Then low temperature long time, 63 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, and hydrogen peroxide treatment. Okay, so these are come under a pasteurization. One process that I'm going to add here, this is your UHT process, that is your called a ultra high ultra high or heat treatment. Okay, this treatment are also performed in some industry for the pasteurization of the milk so that the pathogenic what is the role of the pasteurization? To kill the pathogenic microorganism, to kill the pathogenic microorganisms. Okay, so here the temperature is around 135 degrees Celsius and it will give for a 3 second. Okay, so this is your pasteurization. Now the next is your cooling of the milk. Again, what should we do after pasteurization? We cool the milk around 32 degrees Celsius. Okay, then raw milk is heated at 32 degrees Celsius and favorable temperature for the bacterial growth. Okay, then the temperature will reach between 0 to 5 degrees Celsius for the storage. Now the next is your culturing will be done between at a 32 degrees Celsius for a 30 minute. Okay, here what should we do? We add a starter culture. Okay, starter culture means that we add a microorganism. Okay, so that the process will start and the ripening will be done at 32 degrees Celsius for a 30 minute, and here the fermentation are start and pH should be lower. Now the next is your starter culture is also in a very small amount, like bacteria added in a milk to start a ripening by lower the pH. Torola yeast, Limburg cheese, brick, Penicillium roqueforti, blue cheese. Okay. So what should we do? We use a Torola yeast for the manufacturing of brick Limburger cheese. Okay, so different type of bacteria are different type of the microorganism are used for the manufacturing of the different type of the cheese. Okay, so Torola yeast is used for the manufacturing of the brick Limburger cheese. Okay, and this Penicillium roqueforti is used for the manufacturing of this blue cheese. Now the next is your coagulation. Here when the coagulation are occur, then the lactic acid are produced, and here we add a rennet. Rennet contain a enzyme called a chymosin, and this chymosin converted the K casein into a para K casein and glycomarcropeptide. Okay, chymosin chymosin are present in a rennet, and this chymosin converted the K casein into a para K casein and glycomacropeptide. Okay, and then we leave it for a 30 minutes for the formation of this coagulation. Leave it for a 30 minute in a standby position. Now the next is your here. See, coagulation are occur. This diagram are show you the coagulation of the milk. Now the next is your draining. When cheese curd is ready, we remove the cheese whey that I already told you. Okay, here this cheese whey are what? Cheese whey are highly nutritive. Okay, here the presence of water and bacteria cause a decomposition of food, so perform a partial dehydration. Okay, so this bacteria and water, what they do, they started the decomposition of the food. So what should we do? We only do a partial dehydration. Okay, means that the partial removal of this cheese whey, partial removing of the cheese whey. Now, when we remove the cheese whey, what should we have? We have a cheese curd. Now, what should we do with this cheese curd? We see in the next step. Scalding. Okay, scalding will be done at 44 degrees Celsius. Here, the curd are cut into a small cubes to scald the curd particle, and then cheese whey is expressed from the particles. Okay, so cheese whey are expressed as a particles. Now chiddaring. See, chiddaring, what is this chiddaring? Chiddaring, what the curd are allowed to set until they reach a pH about 6.4. Okay, so we leave the curd at least when their pH reaches for 0, sorry, 6.4. Low, loaves of the curd are cut after 10 minutes. The loaves are turned over a stacking beginning. Every 10 minutes, when the loaves must be turned over, they are stacked. These step uses the weight of the loaves upon each other to help the expel additional moisture. The first time this occur, two loaves are stacked together. The next time the loaves are turned and two stack of two are put together. Okay, now the next is your addition of the salt. See, salt are added for the taste purpose. Okay, so what should we do? While the curd pieces are put back to a vat, here around only small amount of salt are added. Okay, so what should we do? We around add 0.65% of salt is added. Okay, this 0.65% is around the weight of the cheese. It depends upon the weight of the cheese. If the weight of the cheese is 100 gram, then we added 0.65 gram of salt. So it totally depend upon the this weight of the cheese. Now form a cheese into a block. The salted curd pieces are placed in a cheese hoops and pressed into a block to form a cheese. Now next is your storage and aging. Processed block of cheese are either bound with a muslin cloth or wax or a vacuum pack in plastic bags to be stored for a maturation. Depending on the variety, cheese can be aged from a several months to a several years. Now, this is your packaging stored into a vacuum pack or airtight plastic bag to avoid the contamination. Now, the next is your type of the cheese. Okay, so there are several types of the cheese. It's totally depend upon the length of the aging, texture, making method, and fat content and milk source. Okay, so soft cheese is what they are: soft, smooth, creamy texture. Okay, there is no heating will be done. Okay, they around it will contain 50 to 80% of the moisture, and it is uses as a spreader on a bread, crackers, and usually they are what they should not be cooked. Now the next is your see the example of the soft cheese: unripe, fresh, non ripe or aged during processing, short shelf life, cottage, ricotta, mozzarella cream, ripe may Cambod, brie, pakota, salt cured or pickle, feta, domati. Now the next is your semi-soft cheese. They are what? They are a firm and compact. It will contain around 39 to 50% of moisture content, and it can be used for the cooking purposes. Okay, example ripe by mold growth, and they are also known as a blue or vein cheese. Network of green blue veins of mold which include Penicillium roqueforti and Penicillium glauconum, strong and salty flavor. Okay, ripe by a bacteria. Then this is your Limburger and brick. Okay, now next is your firm and semi hard cheese. Okay, so these are the type of the cheese: very hard cheese, processed cheese. I think the types of the cheese are already uploaded in our account. You can go and check it. Okay, now the advantages of the cheese. If we talk about the nutrition value, then it will contain a different type of vitamins like vitamin A, B6, C, D, E, K, and other vitamins like thiamine and riboflavin, niacin are also present. Okay, so it also help in a dental care, like it have a high calcium content, low lactose, and raise of pH of plaque, offers protection against our dental cavities. Now the next is your bone health. They are enriched in different vitamin like B, A, and D. Also contain calcium, magnesium, zinc, strength bone, and cartilage, healthy for children and women, controlling hypertension. Low fat cheese such as cottage and feta, ricotta are good for hypertension patients. Okay, now the next is it also reduces the risk of the osteoporosis. It also contain omega 3 fatty acid. Okay, in also enhance the formation, strength level, and facilitate the absorption of the nutrients. So this is all about the microbiology of the cheese. I hope you will understand. If you have any query related to this topic, you can ask me in a comment box, or for a further query you can follow the Follow the ITLS Academy on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp, and LinkedIn. And subscribe our channel ITLS Academy on YouTube and get our app from a Google Play. For a further query, you can also ask your query to the helpline number that are already mentioned in your slide, and visit our website www.itlsacademy.com. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel. Thank you.